So, hey, part two, we're back. Thanks for coming back, Bob. I give you a break. I'll take a break. It's like people want to use the washroom or get some water. You know,
Good.
I had a
So,
debate. Sorry, I had a debate last year with for 3 hours on the computer. It was like we had no breaks whatsoever. I said I'm not going to do that again.
oh
So
man, I've done so many Zoom meetings in the last 3 years. We're gonna have to take like a Zoom compassion
yeah,
therapy program or something.
yeah, because it was like I had the computer higher last year. Like, my neck was so stiff from 3 hours on this debate. I was like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah.
So that's anyway. So yeah, we're talking about just about the libraries. Just say lived experiences, right? Talking to people that actually lived in animism, not just theory or practical, whatever.
Yes, and since you mentioned that, um, we're in the middle of working on a documentary with a colleague of mine, and we have six different individuals with six different type of disabilities. Like one is unsighted, one is unable to speak, one is transgender, and one individual has epilepsy. And we go through stories of what's like every day for them to live and get by, with a guide dog or in a chair. And we went and to her home at the church in Dundas area, around that area. And we went with her like for about half a day to see what it's like for her in a wheelchair.
It's amazing. Yeah,
So we get to see, we get to learn off of her, and just to see the barriers, just to even go in the store, it's really surprising. So we took video of all the stores that you couldn't get a wheelchair in, that are too narrow or wasn't flat
yeah.
or there was no ramp. And it's a little horrifying. And we've gone through bits and pieces of these individuals' lives to see the differences of all the barriers that they have to put up, because
Oh, it's
we,
amazing. Wow.
we, we are learning from them, right?
Yeah, I love it. Did you do any videos or whatever? Did you like do footage about it or
Yes,
just? Oh, good, good.
yes. It's being it'll be probably be finished in hopefully this year. We're just doing the tail end of it because one of our members got really sick, and that was doing the documentaries now back in action. So what I do is I go into buildings and I look at the width of the washroom. Are you able to move a chair? Are you able to get on the toilet? Or are you going to be able just to wash your hands? Are you going to reach the knob to turn the water on? Are you going to be able to dry your hands? How are you? Is there a push button on the door? So we look at all these different things. And I'm also working with the City of Toronto Transportation Accessibility. And now the next area I'm going to will be Davenport. And they just finished an area there on Davenport where they redid all the roadways and all the ramps and the bicycle lane and things like that. And what we do is we walk the whole area, some of us with engineers, and we look at every little detail of the grades of the sidewalk, how long it takes, for the button to, start flashing to cross the road. So we look at every detail and offer our opinions if there's any adjustments that wasn't considered. So when they do the next project, those things are considered, because you can't change everything after you've already done
Yeah,
it.
yeah. But it's amazing. You
So
know,
that's a quite informative.
for accessible big time. I also another thing is that when they passed the accessibility law, like by this date, all buildings should be accessible, right?
That's never going to happen, man.
What's really funny is like what some of the churches I go to, right? Churches are called private property, right? Now, and anything you have a function is, if you own the building or a plaza, it's called private property.
Yeah.
So, according to like if anything bust, it's according to the owner of the property. So, for example, if like say Doug Ford, these people are having functions at their houses or they rent a place, right? So the policy is according to the law now. If it's accessible, it's a public area, fine. But if it's private, it's not covered. And I've been pushing for that. I did three papers last year and then one this year. I said, can you extend that law? Meaning, if I have a private place and I'm offering a function that's for the public, by law, I had to make it accessible for people to use, and it has to be equal. Because right
For
now,
everybody.
yeah, because right now, like a function, like Doug Ford had a function, or one of the polishers, they had a function, and people I know that are on disability, they couldn't go because it's not accessible, and they can't do nothing about it because it's not covered under the new law. And I think they should extend that law. And also talk about funny buttons, like the churches. A lot of churches that built the accessible button, they put the button on the outside, the main door outside. But when you go in the foyer, the door that goes into the church itself, there's no button. So I said, I'm fighting with two of the churches I go to. I say, why would you spend all that money making it accessible from the outside? And you got a ramp and it's nice and beautiful. It's been thousands of dollars, but you got no door to open. You got no button in the door to open to go in the church itself. You got to open the door. It defeats the purpose of having. You know what I mean? You don't think things like that. So I'm
This
glad. I like what you're doing, like the whole, little details of that. How people live. I love that.
we the idea is to make it these things accessible, for everybody. If you're a politician and you're having a function, it's not fully accessible. You better have your handler. You better get a new handler to instruct you a little more better. We the BIA in my area were recruiting me heavy, even though I'm not a business owner, but they want me there just as a marketing advisor. I think I was just checking off a box, and they were and plus they know sometimes people will contact us to get you to join in because you have access. They want access to your Rolodex is really what goes on a lot, right? That's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
And they got me in there, and I thought, well, I'll check it out and I'll see what you have to say. And they had a change of their board, and they're having a get together for all the businesses, right? A dinner, for, let's say about 70 people. And with the representative at that particular meeting from the city of Toronto, they were planning a meeting at a venue that at a business owner that has great food, but it's not accessible. So
Who's that?
that was at it was planned for. I don't know if I should mention that because I don't know if they made a decision on it yet. But it's a good place to eat, but you can't get in there with a wheelchair.
Yeah.
So they voted. I don't have voting power because I'm not a board member, and they all voted for it, and I resigned that day. I resigned. I resigned from that BIA.
Yeah.
That recruited me heavy because they didn't even talk about it.
No. No.
And I said, this is something you shouldn't have to think about this. This is the way it is. You got to get used to it.
Me and Isabella, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we got during the election this past one. We got invited by the More Neighbors, and now Toronto More Neighbors. They had a function on down on, I think it was off the Danforth. There's a building. It had an elevator. It's a private building, and they had an elevator going from the bottom to the basement all up to the third floor. But there was no accessibility by any wheelchair to get in there. Right, you couldn't go through the delivery area. Isabella with a wheelchair, we were trying to figure this out, how to get her. So six of us lifted up her wheelchair from the front entrance because there's one little, just a bit of a lift at the front entrance, right?
Those things are heavy, aren't they?
Oh my God. I couldn't do it. It took two of us trying. It was crazy because she's got a heavy duty wheelchair. So we lifted
Yeah.
it up and you had to leave the wheelchair, charge it at the little plug-in in the foyer, small foyer. So we gave her a choice. She could still walk a bit. So she went downstairs, I think, and get the elevator going up to the third floor. And that's how we got her. So according to the people that ran it, they said it's privately owned and they can get away with that. Even though they have people that are employed there that are accessible, but they can't get in there.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. But it was just such a treat. And I give kudos to the More Toronto or More Neighbors. They really went out for getting what they were determined to get her in there. We tried all kinds of things. We tried rollers and pads, and we just ended up lifting it up. But I tell you
Yeah.
what a chore, and we just shook our heads like, holy smokes.
Yeah. We
It's
have
just
community members that have to navigate this, all the time, and
listen,
it's rough to see.
it is. And it was really funny. My mom uses a walker. She was determined to go down to the mall, which is just like a 10-minute walk with her first walker. And she came back, she was in pain, her arms were all over. I said, we don't think about these things like they don't make things smooth for seniors for traveling, like when they get off the curb and when they repave areas, they don't make it smooth. It's just like in sections. you know. So when you're in your walker, even if she's got four wheels, she felt every bump going off the curb onto the road, onto the curb,
Yeah,
the sidewalk, you know, like the gaps in between the
yeah.
sidewalks. I still don't know why they do that.
That's changing. So these new areas that have been done, they have different, they have 3 different grades of pavement.
Yeah.
And number one, don't ever use interlocking stones again on a sidewalk because
Oh
it's
my
the worst
God.
idea ever.
I interlocked with my company for 4 years. I hated it, you know.
It's great if you're at home.
Yeah, yeah. The thing is, people don't realize if you're gonna do it like a driveway, you've got to do it in one day. You can't go back the next day because it'll
Yeah,
sink in. It'll be that's when you go to these balls in class, you see it being all sinking in because they didn't
yeah,
get it done in one day. It's all done by different days. So that's why they have problems with that. But interlock is the worst for anybody with disabilities or even
yeah.
like walking wrong. You know.
Especially if you're walking with a cane, because
Oh gosh.
we trip all over the place on those things, and so do our seniors. And our seniors, the most common injury is falling down and then turn into a hip injury. And a lot of
Yeah,
times it's even in the washrooms where our elderly will fall down. They'll hit their hip on either the toilet or the side of the tub.
yeah.
Uh,
Because a lot of the old toilets don't have bars, right? They have the bars.
I have grab bars in my washroom.
Okay, good, good. You know, but even these like all these old buildings, right? They go by the old laws. Like as long as the one accessible point, you don't have to do another one. Like this building, there's a ramp. They just redid the ramp just now in the last few months, so it looks good. But the back of the building, when they were doing the front, they put a temporary ramp from the door. They made the door automatic going to the back and down to the driveway. Now they took that away. But the thing is, because now they got the new ramp installed, they've taken this away. But the funny thing is, people asked, they say, why don't you just keep both of them? They said, nope, not the new standard of building codes. It's just the old buildings. They can get away with that, unfortunately.
That's because the inspectors are just checking the common areas. We call it the lipstick,
Yeah.
right? So they're looking at the front doors.
You sure to book on all your
For it.
terminology, like a slang terminology for disability.
So and plus we only had 31 inspectors in the city of Toronto.
That's it,
Like,
eh?
we have 3,500 rental properties in the city of Toronto. We have 2,100 properties that are deemed Toronto community housing. So Toronto community housing is maintained by the city of Toronto. The other 3,500 has 31 inspectors. So you have 3,500 buildings, 31 inspectors. Math is not too hard. They're just in and out, right? They're not looking at anything. They're not looking at anything behind the walls. They're not looking at any of the units. They're just looking at the front area, and makes it look nice and
Well,
pretty.
look at their example. Look at the what do you call it? The legacy of their work or lack thereof. These building last year fell apart. You know, they had to evacuate those people, and then
Yeah,
before I because we're with government, I talk a lot of it quite often. 13 since 2013, they've been fighting, asking TC upgrade their buildings, upgrade maintenance, all
yeah.
neglect, all neglect. This has been going on since 2013, as far as I can tell, and nothing. And now they have things that are falling apart, evacuation. You know, I don't know what the problem is. These people. I mean, we know who the
Well,
politicians that work there, and I know some of the councils that work there, and you know what they didn't do. Like I said, they had committees, like they had committees and groups, and they're all happy about that. It's nice to advertise, but what did it get done? Tell me.
this happens all the time. We want to make it look nice, that like we're actually
Oh
doing
yeah,
something.
yeah,
The
that's what I mean.
biggest landlord in the city of Toronto is the city of Toronto through Toronto Community Housing.
Yeah,
I was on that list for about 5-6 years. Now I have to take my name off the list because I no longer meet the criteria because things are different. I would be dead by the time my name comes up on that list, and those of us with long-term disability get no preference on that list.
no, no.
None whatsoever. So the city of Toronto is the worst offender of units in disrepair, whether it be plumbing, electricity, and the hole is so deep that nobody wants to touch that.
That's what I mean. Nobody wants, and it just keeps getting deeper and deeper, and this is what
Yeah,
happens. It's the problem, right? You
and
know.
I've been in probably over 10 in the last 2 years of Toronto community housing buildings. You wouldn't want to live there. You wouldn't live there for free.
I went to two. I got two friends that were in the last one. They got evacuated, but I was like, this is disgusting. You know.
Yeah. So I mean, some of them are good, but a lot of them
Oh
are
no,
bad.
I wish they take more pictures of what they look like rather than just what you see in the news because they don't show everything. You know.
We've I've done news clips with City News where we've gone in and shown caved in roofs from water damage with an MPP,
Yeah.
with our MPP Faisal Hussan. Hopefully we'll get him back in next election. And at ACORN get a lot of press, right? And it just doesn't seem, just doesn't want to do anything about it.
I don't understand that. I mean, if you get paid the job, you're with the community or community housing. You know, there's an article written in the Toronto Star by an individual that should live there. She's on like some sort of board, and her suggestion was to fire them all, replace them with people that actually live the experiences, and put them in there.
Yeah.
And that's
Let us run it.
yeah.
And
No,
first of all, we'll start by cleaning everything up and go through everybody's paperwork one by one and deal on a one by one basis, because we have a lot of individuals that are living at these places that, linked into grandfather in these units that don't meet the criteria and taking up spots.
yeah, yeah.
Right. And to be forced to live in, you used to have 3 kicks at the can. Now, if you get offered a place, you don't take it, you're at the bottom of the list.
That's right.
Right. And we've been pushing. I've met with MPP Susie Morrison. She was the tenant NDP opposition tenant critic at the time. Now it's Jessica Bell. And Jessica Bell is, I don't know if you ever run into her at any of our gatherings. She's also a cyclist, and she's also involved with the Brain Institute Society of Toronto. Is aware of because cyclists cyclists get brain injuries.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the reality of. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get change. I was invited by a group called Disability Without Poverty. That's a Canada-wide group, and we were lobbying to push Bill C-22 in Ottawa, and it's called the Canadian Disabilities Act. And what will happen is that the idea is to bring our Ontario disability recipients up to the cost of living in funding.
Yeah.
So you're not working, these idiotic jobs, or you're not working under the table. I mean, a lot of people do that, and I get why they do it. I don't particularly agree because it's all fun till you get caught.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Yeah,
We don't recommend that.
No.
So we got to allow our community members that not have to worry about do I have bus fare to go to a food bank, right?
Yeah.
Do I have bus fare? Do I have bus fare to go to my community center to have lunch, or to go and join my neighbors, or to take that sewing class, or that exercise class, or whatever? When we have our community members that are out and physically able to move around, they're better physically and mentally, right? It's the mental part that's a big part of it. And we want Ontario disability recipients to live with dignity instead of legislated poverty, and constantly being told that you're just not important enough.
No,
so
that's the
so
thing.
that's something that many struggle with, because think, well, why am I not important enough, right? Why am I not important enough that I have to go to a food bank because all my money is going towards rent?
Yeah, I know.
Right.
We talked in our debates last year, a whole bunch of us, and we said, why don't you get free TTC for people with DSP disabilities? There's a whole list there, right? Because like I said, it's just cutting out of their paychecks or whatever they get.
Yeah. We
You know,
used to. I had it before COVID, and mine was the equivalent. In those days, it was the Metro Pass. It was 158.25. But the way to meet that criteria is you have to have like 8 medical appointments a month from a doctor.
Yeah.
Not therapists. I mean, we're talking doctors. I mean, who goes 8 times a month? So fortunately, I met that criteria, but then when all our programs stopped,
Yeah.
the funding stopped because, well, they said, well, Robert, you're not taking those programs anymore. So, I mean, obviously, we're going to stop it. So that
So
happened
Bob, so Bob, who writes this stuff anyway? Who comes up with this stupid stuff?
to
Who
it's
writes this stuff? Oh, they got to go through eight doctorate appointments. I'll give you your compensation. Like, come on,
I
come
don't
on.
know, and they just make it so difficult. I think they
It
just
is.
want you to give up.
Well, back to what you said. I'm a person. I'm an individual, right? And also, like
Right.
you said earlier, everybody's on a like when they make these programs for people. We have another kind of about disability and mental stress. Everybody's in a different situation. Like your situation, you could have good days, bad days, right? When you're in a program and say you got to do this, this is the program set for you. If you don't meet the requirements, you're out. Excuse me, I have this sort of problem. On one days I'm having a good day, other days I'm having a bad day. You know what I mean? It's an individual. We're all individuals. We're all people, and I really, I hate when I hear people feel like I'm not important to society or I'm not part of it. Even the whole homeless thing with the
Yeah.
kicking out of the camps and all that just irks me. Just that they like they're taking their dignity away, right?
Yeah,
So
it's it's something that sits in your head all the time, and I'm extremely fortunate because I'm able to function. There's so many thousands and thousands that life is more difficult. So while I'm still able, I'll always fight for this. And this group here, I don't know if you can read that.
people with disabilities can't afford to wait. I love that.
All right.
I like that.
We had 40,000 of these cards. Disability Without Party, we had 40,000, and we delivered them. They asked me to speak at an event, and from there they asked me to go join them. They had a meeting in Chrystia Freeland's office. So we met. We went there to talk to one of her staffers about the importance of this bill. Then from there they took me to Ottawa to speak on Parliament Hill about the passing of this bill. The bill has been passed. It's all been voted in. Now it's just they got to take action.
Big action, yeah.
They're saying, well, nothing will be in effect but a year from now. But you know what? A year's too late. You got to do it now. It's unanimous. Not one MP voted against it. Now let's now the hard work needs to be done, and let's get our individuals, our community members with disability. Let's give them some peace of mind, so you don't have to think, well, oh boy, am I going to get is my new caseworker going to be empathetic? Are they going to be understanding? Or they're just going to be a bunch of dicks? Because our caseworkers, they're not caseworkers, right? They're data entry clerks.
Yeah.
Right? Because they don't have time. They don't have time. We have to educate the caseworkers on what we're eligible for, what funding is there that's available for us. We have to explain why, because they don't know. And the caseworkers are either burnt out, or they hate their job, or their life's just not worth living again for them. I'm not really sure what the deal is. But when you have a caseworker that's handling 300 files, I mean, good things are not going to happen.
Yeah.
Right? Why is one individual? So they're just doing computer work. They're not caseworkers,
Well,
right?
they just did the numbers, right? Yeah. I was gonna ask you, how do you feel about? I always talked about this last year. I think there should be more committees or organizations or more of a voice of people in City Hall, going there on a regular, like yourself, on a regular
Well,
basis. The whole election, there's no voice of the people. People are not like you're talking here. I didn't hear you once about you or anything related to you or something you're talking about during the election. It's not brought up because this is what's missing. You
well,
know,
elections are elections, right? Elections are about votes, and the minute you get
and that's
voted
what it
in,
is.
the next day you're working on to stay in,
Too
and we
big
got
a
to get our
state.
politicians.
Yeah.
Our politicians got politicians are professional politicians, right? And that's how they got there. And they can sit there and nod their head and pretend to listen, but it's how do we get them to hear?
Well, food security was the biggest thing. Food security, housing, not housing, but homelessness and rent. This was not
Yep.
discussed during any elections, but you're right after the election. This is the biggest topic right now. Going on strike downs, rent strikes. the coalition's going on downtown the other day.
Yeah, it's
So
actually happening here in
yeah,
Weston, and
why this should be part of every top for any candidate to talk about. Just
yeah,
don't take your pictures and all that stuff. Just
the
you,
one
you
that's spearheading that is Chiara Padavani, and she ran for city council. She's a social
yeah,
worker.
yeah, I love it. I saw it at the Labor Day parade the other day. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
She,
yeah. She's
she,
a
she,
great lady. And,
she's a hero, and
oh yeah, yeah,
she's got a lot of political
yeah.
connections. I mean, huge.
And her husband Bruno there.
Yeah, and Bruno. Yeah, Bruno, a
Yeah,
nice
I
guy.
met them. I met her the first time with Labor Day parade. I met her last year at the Labor Day, the first time meeting her, and then I met her
Oh
again the
yeah,
year after. Yeah, she's a great lady. Her, the whole bunch of Amber Morty got in.
Amber
Uh,
Morley. Yep,
Osmo Malak. All these new counselors got in. They're great people. I got to know quite a few of them last year.
yeah.
Jamal Meyer. Who
Jamal
else?
Myers, who's also the
Chris.
TTC chair too.
Yeah, I love it. Chris Moyes, another good guy.
Chris
The
Moyes. Yeah,
LG, he's from our LGBT community. He's a good guy. Who else? There's Alejandra keeps it Bravo.
Alejandro Bravo.
Oh, she's a great lady.
Yeah,
I like all these people that got it. I'm so happy that they got it, but I'm so
yeah.
sad that but she didn't get in. Just about another. Yeah, next time, gotta get in there.
84. I think she lost by 84 votes, but
Not much, not
John
much.
Tory, John Tory, um, um, lobbied for Francis Nunziata about 10 days before the election,
Yeah, yeah, I know
right?
about that.
And Francis Nunziata, this is like her fifth term. I mean, holy cow! I mean, come
Yeah,
on,
I know.
move on.
Don't get me started. But no, she's a nice lady. But just well,
Cheer up and move on. We've had many of this.
the last year's election was more like a no brainer for most of the candidates, like incumbents. But what got me more intense was the results for Chaya and what the other one was Ward 19. Was it with Diane Sachs one?
Diane Sachs, yeah,
Yeah, because Norm De Pasquale was my guy to go get in there. He was
yeah.
close, and he's another. Do you know him? Have you met him, Norm?
Norm
De Pasquale.
Pasquale, oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah, he's a good guy. He's also another guy I like to see get. These are the kind of people I like to see get into council in the next term or
yeah,
whatever. Like you said, all these people. What I love about it, I saw their platforms and I met most of them, and they're
yeah.
just community people, and they're just there. They're not there just for the hops and the glory, but they're there doing work. And they
Isn't
get connected.
isn't he a school trustee?
I think he was. I can't
Yeah,
remember if he's gone
yeah,
now, but he's with the Ontario Place for All. He's advocating for that. Right now.
yeah,
But and also he's with the he's with the NDPs. I saw with the parade there.
yeah.
He's
I
also
think nobody will tell me, but I think the NDP are backing Cara Padavoni because she's got so many allies that are all
oh yeah,
NDPers.
yeah, yeah. She's got a big alley, yeah. That's just parade. She had a big entourage. And they endorsed her. There's a whole bunch that got endorsed by the NDPs, a whole like a 14 of them, including Ozma. Ozma got endorsed as
Yeah,
well. And
maybe the NDP.
Have you ever
Yeah.
met Ozma Malik?
Uh, no, I might have ran into it at City Hall, but I've had no dealings with them indirectly or indirectly.
Smart, very smart lady, very smart, very
Yeah,
intelligent, and she just knows things going around her. She's like a compass. She's just always
yeah,
going different things, and you always see. And I love that. I love these new counselors. So I hope next more people. But what I like to see is more people with not disabilities, but more people like yourself, with speaking for aneurysm, like getting in there. Not maybe not just council, but being part of that whole city hall, right? Being a regular. That's where you the
yes,
voices, and that's where you people like get first hand experiences. That's where you make decisions, not by theory and reading a book or studying at college, which is
yeah,
great. But like I said, you're the only individual sitting. You and other guys sitting on the board, right? The other ones are all just from school learning about it.
that's right.
Yeah, and it just what you need. Guys like you and ladies like you in there, advocating for something that you went through as an experience from poverty to
Yeah,
rent to ACORN. You know,
yeah,
ACORN, these organizations, ACORN, ODSP, not ACORN, there's a whole bunch of them. But I always want to see that being in City Hall or part of the whole, with their voice in there. Not just going to like sessions and protests and you're being invited to like you said, you're being invited all the time. Why just become a
yeah,
regular? you know,
yeah,
it's nice, but just be part of that.
yeah,
Part of the only make the city progress and get better is voice, and that's what's lacking, I
yeah.
think. you know?
Because you can't teach this in a classroom.
No.
And for me, like these organizations that the 5 organizations that I'm directly active in and speak in their behalf at certain events, I'm not paid. I got no skin in the game.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not paid. I'm not remunerated. I don't
Yeah.
get free metro passes, or I don't get anything like that. I get the odd time a group will call me to speak at an engagement about housing or whatever, and then get an honorarium, or sometimes a coffee mug, or dumb stuff like that. All right, but I think politicians understand that. Understand that you're not there representing a company. You're not representing. You're not being paid. As simple as that. You're not being remunerated for speaking up, and I think that goes a little bit further. Not much, because politicians are politicians, but
Yeah.
the best time to get a politician is when they're just newly elected, because they want to save the world, right? So this is the best time to have a chat with politicians, because usually they're trying to do too much, right? Because they want to fit in, and they're trying to navigate, negotiate all this stuff, and we talk about this stuff, and we're trying to get our doctors more aware of care for patients when they leave the hospital. I don't know. This was the last one I got. This is
Making the, I've heard this before. Yeah, making the visible. Yeah, 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 exactly.
have I shown you that?
I know. I saw the term. I
Yeah.
heard it the other day. Yeah, I didn't see the picture yet.
This is actually this was done by Brain Canada. They're having their AGM meeting at the art gallery this afternoon.
Oh, okay.
And actually, one of the doctors that I worked with on this project invited me to that meeting, which would be pretty cool.
Oh, good.
So I have to sit there and have cocktails with all the
Gotta go for those cocktails. That just drives you there all the time to go these
That's
things,
right. I get to hand all the medical officials about this here. These are 9 stories.
Oh, nice. Is that available?
Right.
Is that for the public to see?
Yes, this was an insert.
Oh, that's nice.
That's my story.
Okay. Is it online to read? Just the papers there?
I can write you a copy. It's
Okay, yeah.
9 stories of real life
Oh, I'd
stories
love to
of
read that. Yeah,
individuals
yeah, I
that go
love
through.
that.
It's really rough to read, actually, because it brings back a lot of memories.
Well, for
But
yourself.
these are stories told by each other. They're not stories that have been manufactured through a journalist.
Yeah.
It's pretty raw. And this was published in this was an insert in the Globe and Mail, I think,
Okay.
on June 17th.
Oh, okay.
So this went all over Canada.
Oh, nice.
And this is about making the visible visible.
Yeah.
Especially
Speaking of visible, this is what I love to do. I like to go to Parliament, go in that House of Commons, take groups like ACORN, people with different disabilities or special needs, and we go there as one voice and they give everybody a turn to talk about their experiences, what they're missing, what they're lacking, what kind of money they need, right?
Yeah.
Not the government money, the upgrading it, right? And this is what, and it's all standard. If you're gonna clap for the Ukrainian president, right? Right? You can clap for the people in Toronto that are suffering, people in Ontario suffering, right?
Are
Going
homeless.
there, homeless, going as a voice there, right?
Yeah.
You know?
What we find is that many individuals with brain injury don't want to talk about this sort of stuff.
Okay.
Because it's something that happened that changed life forever. Whether it be sounds or bright lights or noises or vibrations, or just the mood swings and the depression, or just functioning, just getting your body to work that particular day.
It's like a fear of just people might look at you differently, you kind of that fear of not being accepted or whatever. Just
it's always that.
It's unfortunate, that we have that kind of view about, if you're going to mention about stuff you did, you'll be thought about being less person or not less, just individual about your pride and all that, you know, your dignity, you know, it's so hard.
It affects you, and many don't want to talk about it because when they delve into certain areas, they'll get triggered. Right, it'll trigger, at a point back in time when, when something bad happened as a result from, from their
Yeah.
actions. So the triggering is very easy, and this is why Brain Canada and University of Toronto, York University, there's a lot of studies going on now, and it's being it's being brought up in the forefront that we have to talk about these issues, and we got to support individuals with disability and have the opportunity to, to thrive in their community and just not sit at home.
Yeah.
Right. And that's changing. And through this, here's another publication. This one was just printed.
Unveiling resilience. Oh, I love that.
Yes. This is from the Brain Injury Association of Peel Halton.
Is that a book or a pamphlet?
It's a book.
Oh, it's a book, yeah.
It's a book about these specific topics that we're talking about, and it's also of what we need to change, and it's also individual stories of what it's like for them to navigate, from day to day.
What is that? Is that for sale in the stores or what?
I don't know if it's out yet. I know this is going to it's supposed to be going to all the hospitals in Canada and all the brain injury. It just got printed.
What about the is it who prints it, U of T or Toronto Press or what?
Probably something in Peel region.
Okay. You know if it'll be in any libraries for take it out or what?
I don't know, but I'll be talking to all people this afternoon.
Yeah, I'd like to know. Yeah, yeah.
All I know is those of us who participate, they send us the first copies before it comes
nice.
out.
Oh, cool.
So this here is it says here, this is chapter 16, and this is we need to create change.
I love that. That's
So
nice.
this is 5 pages of, I talk about accessibility. I'm able to ride a bike, but a lot of people don't understand that.
Yeah, I love that.
That freaks everybody out. So I saw you yesterday on a cane. Now you're on the bike. That's just the way it goes. I'm really lucky that way. And it talks about food.
When you're finished, if you have an extra copy, I'll buy one off you. I got I got 1 minute left with you. 1 minute. Just want to wrap up here, and
I can send you a digital copy.
Yeah, that'd be great. You know, and I want to distribute it, and I like to talk to more people about that.
Yep.
I really appreciate you coming on the show and talk
That's what we do.
I loved it. You know, sharing your knowledge and just I learned a lot of stuff after you today, but the whole thing about compensation and things that are not available now because you're fighting for it. You know what? You know, like you're like to me, you're the hero today. You're my hero today, buddy. You know, like you're a fighter. Honestly.
Hey,
you know,
well, there's no choice in the matter. I mean, it's only one way, and it's up, right?
It's great. So
okay,
anyway,
so
if you have any websites you want to, I can always put it on the ad there. If you have any websites or links, I can just do that and links to whatever you want. And anyways, I'd like to have you back. Continue talking this conversation. I think it's great. I think it's nice to know and people can hear about it. You know, and your story inspires other people. That's what I love about these things. You're tell me out there about your story and come back to you one day and say, hey, I heard your story, Bob. Thanks for inspiring me. That's what it's all about.
There's many stories. Like mine is very simple. My story is very easy.
Oh, it's a great story, Right? So I'll say thanks for coming, Bob. I'll send you a copy. The copy's on my Google account, and you can do whatever you want with it, and I'll distribute that as well. And I look forward to it. Yeah, thanks for being really patient, taking the time. I know you're a busy guy. And I'm really glad. I'm glad you're doing okay. You're a good guy. I love it. I think you're a great guy.
All right. If you have an opportunity and you have neighbors that are elderly, just check in and say hi every once in a while.
I will do it. Thank you. So I'll say off for now. I'll send you some copies. Thank you so much, Bob, for coming.